Welcome to the MLB Bullpen Report. I'm Jason Gilbo, Jake Gilbo 11, taking a look at some bullpen situations for your season-long fantasy needs. May 7th here, and of course, closer situations are always a tough go in the season-long world. A couple guys to talk about as far as injury goes, some situations that really need to be touched on as far as the Reds go. The Phillies are certainly an interesting bunch. Breaking right into some situations as far as injuries. Aroldis Chapman, not an injury, but a guy who is nearing return, due back from a lengthy suspension. Joe Girardi has made it very clear that Chapman's going to be thrown right into the closer role as usual. Andrew Miller going to take a little bit of a bump here in production. So he's a guy who's going to sit. Obviously, if you are a saves and holds leagues, he's a fine add. Same with Batankis there. So overall, I mean, obviously Chapman comes in, will be an elite closer. Yankees should, even though they're not winning too many games, will provide him with some save opportunities. He's recorded 30 over the last 4 seasons each. Obviously, that huge 43% strikeout rate for his career. So obviously a solid add. I know he's been stashed, but if you own him, that just kind of gives you the indication that he's coming back soon. Zach Britton, next on the list, coming back, another AL East guy. Threw 1.1 innings on Thursday against the Yankees, struck out 3, walked 1, so he looked very solid, looked like his usual self, was dealing with a sprained ankle issue. If anything happens with him, Darren O'Day is going to be the guy who steps into the ad. Obviously, the Baltimore bullpen's fantastic. O'Day's still a solid holds guy, so overall, you can definitely look at those guys, but obviously Britton on his way back. Once again, staying with the AL East, Brad Boxberger on a rehab assignment, coming back for the Rays soon. The problem here is the Rays last year were not friendly for trying to figure out closing situations. You're taking a look at Boxberger, who should be the guy. I mean, 41 saves last year with all those injuries. Obviously, Jake McGee gone, but Alex Colom's been the guy who's kind of holding down issues here. Been fairly solid, but Boxberger Colomb, 7 saves this season, 32.6% strikeout rate, 2.53. So it is a promising situation for him. Boxberger might not necessarily come back and grab saves, so that is something to keep an eye on. Colomb may still be the guy, so I definitely think he is worthy of holding on to in this situation and see what shakes out. Of course, it's a low risk, high reward situation. So if he does continue to get the saves, then you're solid. You got a closer until eventually he maybe falters a couple times, and Boxberger comes in the situation because we saw that last year. Next guy on the list here, Houston Street, down 15-day disabled list with an oblique issue. Joe Smith has folded in, not your sexy arm by any means. 2 saves since he's gone down. He's likely floating around your league. If he is, pick him up if you're in desperate need of a save. Overall, Houston Street could be back, but also obliques are tough, so it might linger for a little while. Not a quality arm, but he is a guy who's going to probably get the job done. Definitely a guy to consider, especially if you're kind of streaming that third end closer situation. Going into some situations now, as far as the teams go, obviously the Reds bullpen has been horrendous to start the year. J.J. Hoover, pretty much unusable. Obviously now he's optioned to AAA. 14.34 ERA over 10.2 innings this season. Brian Price had some interesting words, quote unquote here. We'll put him on a 10-day schedule to get as much pitching as possible. If he's ready to go, he'll come back and certainly get some consideration. I don't like that. For a situation, you never want to hear those words because Hoover's been bad. Obviously, you don't have a situation as far as the Reds go where there's no immediate young arm who's going to step in. It's Caleb Cotham, it's Tony Cingrani, who are in play, and both have walk rates that are really, not ideal for situations. 16.4% walk rate for Cingrani, Cotham 3.92 FIP, just a 17.1% strikeout. His walk rate is also 10.5%. This is a situation, yes, there's saves up for grabs, but it's like, at what cost do you get it? You might be taking an ERA, blow up on a night, a whip blow up on a night with using one of these guys. So I think this is a situation where, yes, you might want to keep an eye on it, but it's not appealing even if guys step into that role. So next one here, you got the Phillies. G-Mark Gomez, been very solid. I have myself a couple shares here. Recorded 9 saves this season. Yes, he's been great for those 9 saves. Also not a big swing and miss guy, just a 17.4% strikeout rate. You don't like that a lot. .351 WOBA allowed to right-handed bats. That is not great for a closer. So I think the blowups are starting to come, and now we kind of try and keep an eye on as for who's going to come in. I think Hector Neris is going to be the guy who does so, because 38.6% strikeout rate, 1.96 ERA on the season. That's who I'm looking at. I think he's the guy who needs to be on your watch list as far as picking up saves in Philadelphia. So that's pretty much it. That's going to wrap things up. Overall, things have been going as usual here. You got your nice arms who are being consistent. Every arm really not in too big of a factor of losing their job. Just kind of those names there in a couple of injury situations. So I'll definitely be back taking a look at these situations and see if there's anything else that shakes up next Saturday. So be sure to check back in on the Bullpen Report.